Okay, today is November 2013, about the 17th or 18th of November. This is a video documentary of a lead up to my heart transplant, hopefully sometime this year. Okay, and my narrator is my husband, Jim Metze, and he's going to be asking me some questions and see if we can remember way back when all of this stuff got started. Okay, first question.
First question is, I want you to discuss a little bit about your lifestyle in 1990 through 1995. Want to lead in a little bit to the history of your condition.
Okay, prior to 90 and 95, I was not sick. I was pretty well doing my own thing, going out dancing a lot, smoking a pack and a half of cigarettes a day, and drinking usually just on maybe a Saturday night, Thursday night, Saturday night, somewhere along in there, 2-3 nights a week. And there'd be sometimes that I would drink a little bit too much. But anyway, didn't use any drugs. As far as hard alcohol, probably the hardest alcohol that I had was like vodka, occasionally, or Bloody Mary, or tequila. What do you call those things?
Sunrise.
No, the
Margarita.
Margarita. But outside that, I usually just drank beer, and I could get pretty tipsy on beer, so that was enough for me. But anyway, I stayed on the dance floor. That was my exercise most of the time, and I didn't really have any ailments. Let's see, I will add in this documentary that I had a hysterectomy when I was about 22, 23, somewhere along in there. And outside of that, I didn't have any, was never hospitalized or major surgeries or anything like that.
Okay. Were there a couple of major, let's say, I can think of 3 major events that happened between 1990 and 1995.
Major events?
Major events.
Stress?
No, not to you, but to people around you.
I understand, but it was stress related to me.
Anything, yes.
Yes, they say that there's 2 or 3 major things that would that causes major stress. One of them is divorce, moving, death. I can't remember what else, but there's 2 or 3 or 4 of them there that is a major or life-changing events. And between 90 and 95, Doyle died in 1992. My mother died in 1994. I got a divorce in 1995. Jim and I got married in 1996. I moved at least twice during that period of time. And plus trying to raise my young man and working a job that was very unpredictable because I was on commission and was not really guaranteed a salary. So I really didn't know where our next paycheck was coming from, but it was something that I enjoyed, and it worked for a while.
More along that same line. But something good, too, happened in that same time frame, right? You had a couple of grandbabies.
Oh, yeah. The most exciting thing in that time period was my 2 little old grandbabies were born in 1994, and they were the cutest little things. Hunter and Brooke, March the 4th, 1994. And my mother died March the 10th, 1994. And at the end of the year 1996, or actually it was the beginning of the year or middle of the year of 96, an old flame cropped up, Jim Metze, and so at the end of 96, he moved back to Dallas, and he moved in with me at my place over in Garland. And so then we decided to get married, and so we get a little bit confused on the time period there, because at the beginning of 1997 is when I had a heart attack. And we got married April the 20th, 1996. So you must have come in
early 96.
No, it was at the end of 95.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he came in from New Jersey at 1995. And then we got married on April the 20th, 1996. And then we continued to work and lived happily ever after. And then at 1997, in January, I was at work, and I wasn't feeling too good. And so I was having a lot of burning in my throat, and I knew that something was not right. And I called Jim. It was on a Friday, because he was working half days on Friday. And so I called him and told him that I needed to go to the doctor because I was having some real issues. And told him to be standing on the front porch, and I'd whiz by and get him. And we went to the doctor, and they immediately loaded me up in the ambulance in Garland and drove me across the street to the hospital, which is Baylor Hospital in Garland. Okay, so when he moved me over to the Garland Hospital, there was a doctor over there. It was Dr. Bray. One of the first things they did was an angiogram, which you go in through the groin, and it checks your heart, all of your heart function and all of that kind of stuff, which we didn't know anything about that at the time. And so we did that, and I went back home, and they said if we had any swelling or any bruising or bleeding or anything like that, to be sure and call them. Well, sure enough, it started swelling up as big as much bigger than a golf ball. And so they had to take me back into the hospital.
Wait a minute. What was swelling up?
My leg, where they did the angiogram. And so what he had done, it was called a pseudoaneurysm, and he basically punched the needle through both sides, and it was leaking. And so they had to go back in and repair that. And from that point on, I politely told them that if they couldn't do any better than that, I would transfer to Baylor downtown, that if he couldn't do an angiogram, I didn't want him doing heart surgery. So we promptly loaded up, and I can't remember whether they took me in the ambulance down there or not. Anyway, I started seeing Dr. Donsky, downtown Baylor. And he did some stents. He did some angiograms and some stents and some tests and stuff. And they kept thinking that I was going to feel better, and I didn't. And then, let's see. So that was from January to May.
Yeah, April sometime, right? Because didn't we move
of 97.
Right.
Yeah, April, May, somewhere along in there of 97. During that time, I had several stents put in, but they kept telling me I would feel better, which I didn't. And so then they went ahead and did 4 bypasses and told me I would feel absolutely wonderful after that, which I didn't. And then after that, from that point on, it's just been every kind of test that you can imagine stent after stent after stent, angiogram, angioplasties, you name it. And it has just progressively gotten worse. Let's see, up to the point where last year I had a defibrillator and a pacemaker put in. In addition to several years of stress there, caused by the different things that I had previously mentioned, smoking did not help. That was one thing that, they kept stressing and stressing. Of course, I was bulletproof, and the smoking wasn't going to do anything to harm me. And when Jim and I got married, he was smoking 2.5 packs a day. I was smoking 1.5 packs a day. And of course, the little house that I lived in at the time was way too tiny to handle that much smoke. So we both agreed that we would not smoke in the house, wouldn't smoke in the car. We would just, if we were watching TV or movies, we would only smoke at commercials. And then it got to where in the Garland, Richardson, Plano area, you couldn't smoke at all in restaurants or places where you used to enjoy smoking. You couldn't smoke anymore. So it just got to where it was just miserable to smoke anyway. And then the cigarettes got so expensive till we couldn't afford them. So we both quit. We stayed quit. Well, of course, I couldn't breathe anyway. I got to the point where I could inhale about down to my throat, and then it would just stop there, and which was kind of scary. In addition to the smoking, my problem has been hereditary. My grandmother had, actually it was my mother's father, died immediately of a heart attack. Not immediately, but suddenly of a heart attack. And then my mom had heart problems, and my brother had a heart transplant when he was 46, and that was in 2002. And my mother had had a heart surgery prior to that, and then she died in 94, and but she had congestive heart failure and a bunch of stuff, and she was also a diabetic. Her surgery was at Medical City in Dallas on Forest Lane. Doyle's heart transplant was at Medical City on Forest Lane in 92, and Dr. Bowman and Dr. Mack did his surgery. And I believe that they said that he was the 13th heart transplant. I have recently ran into Dr. Bowman, and he does remember Doyle's heart transplant. Dr. Mack is still around, but he's not practicing heart surgery. He or Dr. Bowman, either one, is not practicing the heart transplants. As time had gone on, I have gotten arteriosclerosis, atherosclerosis, congestive heart failure, enlarged heart, cardiomyopathy, of course, high cholesterol,
high blood pressure,
and all of that stuff has just gotten worse and worse, and it has gotten to the point that I am now stage 4 congestive heart failure, and they have put me on the heart transplant list. I went down a couple of months ago, or maybe not that long ago, and had a lot of tests done to see if I would qualify for a heart transplant. They thought at first they were going to put the LVAD, which is a mechanical heart or a heart assist device. And so they decided that I would be a good candidate for a heart transplant. So they have sent me home with a PICC line and a medical drip that is supposed to make my heart stronger. And from this point, where we are today is we will go through a heart transplant orientation on the 27th of November, and at that point I will officially be on the heart transplant list. We currently live in Pottsboro, Texas, and of course it's quite a distance from downtown Baylor, and currently we have it set up to where I will take a care flight from Pottsboro and be care flighted to Baylor. And I guess Jim will get there the best way he can. Okay, after the heart surgery, I had multiple stents, which I imagine it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 or 30 stents. I'm on about 15 pills in the morning and 15 at night, probably. With all the stuff that's been done, my heart function in the beginning started off being half of what it should be. Normal heart function should be around
60 to
60, 65, somewhere along in there. Mine dropped, the first time that they checked the heart function, I think it was around 23. And then they got it back up to where it was doing a little bit better. And then it just eventually dropped and dropped. And the last time that we had it checked within the last month, it was between 10 and 15%.